Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about something that we've been doing, about a little bit of a different way of doing input to the robot. So it all started when we decided we wanted to use Xbox 360 controllers to control a robot. And the driver station recognizes Xbox controllers by default. It's functionality that's built into the program, but unfortunately it doesn't allow you to use the D-pad. And that's an inherent problem in the driver station program. So we really wanted to use the D-pad for certain functionality on the robot. We didn't want to be limited to not being able to use it. So what we decided to do was use what's called an input mapper. And they're designed for video games to take input from weird devices like Wiimotes or Xbox 360 controllers and map them back to normal devices like a keyboard or mouse. And we found a way using a program called GlovePi and a program called PPJoy that we could take the Xbox 360 D-pad inputs and remap them to a virtual joystick. And then that virtual joystick would be recognized by the driver station and would send data to the robot in exactly the same way a regular joystick would. So, here's the diagram to show you how it works. Normal, for almost every single input on the Xbox controller, it follows a very simple path. You press a button, it goes to the driver station, and it goes straight to your robot. But for the D-pad, because it's not automatically recognized, we need to send the Xbox 360 controller goes to GlovePi, which then sends a message to PPJoy, which the driver station interprets, and then sends to your robot. So it's a little bit more complicated, but there is a lot more added functionality that you can get out of this. So this is what the screen looks like when we're running our program like this. GlovePi is, it handles mapping through the use of script. So that's a simple script that simply takes the D-pad values on the Xbox controller, which is represented by X input 1, and it maps them to a PPJoy virtual joystick. And it maps it to various digital inputs on that. And then down here on the driver station, you can see that both the controller and the virtual joystick are recognized inputs. And so that's how it works. And as we were doing this, it occurred to us that we could use GlovePi for more than just the D-pad. And the neat thing that we found here was if you map all the inputs using GlovePi, then it allows you to make a much more flexible input system. Because first of all, GlovePi supports many, many, many different devices. So by simply changing the script that you write, you can change your robot's input from an Xbox controller to a Wiimote to the Nintendo Power Glove, and I think they're working on support for Xbox Connect for it, so hopefully it'll be ready by build season, because that would be really exciting. But the other really nice thing is that you don't have to rewrite robot code if you want to change your inputs. If you want to do some really complicated stuff, you're probably going to want to change your robot code to some extent. But for just basic inputting, like you want to have your kicker on the X button instead of the A button, you can do that in GlovePi. You don't have to set up your programming laptop and re-download the robot code and everything like that. It's just a very simple fix, and you just change the script and run it again, and it's like 5 seconds. So it makes it a lot easier to change your controls if you want to. And so, just to summarize what I've been talking about, GlovePi is a useful tool. We first came across it when trying to get the D-pad to work with the driver station, but you can easily use it to remap your robot's entire controls from one type of input device and use that to control your robot. And the reason this is advantageous is because I find that a lot of times when you're using the joysticks that come with the kit, it can be very hard to get all the controls that you want onto there, because some of the buttons are rather hard to access. And so it's really nice for drivers that are using a controller, because the buttons are all at their fingertips and they can pretty easily access all the joysticks and triggers and buttons, and it makes it a lot more intuitive to be able to drive the robot. And also, I can't speak for other teams, but I know that many of the drivers on our teams are quite experienced with game controllers from playing video games. So that's another advantage. Okay, we're going to give you a little demo of how our system of using an Xbox controller works. So to start off with, we have our robot running using ordinary joystick controllers that were provided in the kit of parts this year. So you can see it drives around quite nicely. And okay, and now we're going to show you how we could remap this so that it works with an Xbox controller. So, start off with, we're going to unplug our joysticks, and you can see they leave our input section. We plug in our Xbox controller, and it's recognized. And we have this handy dandy GlovePie script that we've written. And it essentially just takes the Xbox controller values and maps them to the virtual joystick. And so you can see if we press the A button on the controller, the joystick also registers a button click. And so, if we run the script and then enable the robot, you can see the robot now drives around with an Xbox controller. And so, in about 30 seconds, you can change your input scheme radically from whatever kind of input devices you can want that you might want to use. So you can see just how flexible this method of doing input is. Thank you.